Our northern Colorado forests are dependent on fire, which is central to keeping this landscape thriving, beautiful, and resilient. Fire is nature's waste management, recycling, and thinning system. It helps reduce the amount of vegetation, dead and alive, in a forest. This reduces competition for scarce resources and makes nutrients locked up in the trees available for new vegetation. Frequent fires also create a more diverse landscape of different tree species and ages, which in turn creates a patchy landscape that can better limit both fire and insect spread.
You can think of fire as a kind of a renewing force. From the point of view of an individual tree, yes, it can be destructive, but from a landscape perspective, it keeps forest stands healthy and allows for a mosaic of stand age and species composition.
Yeah, fire has been called a keystone ecological process. The idea is that fire sets up stand structure, again, by killing the younger trees and creating landscape heterogeneity, diversity, patches blow out and then they'll regenerate later on. So a lot of variation in terms of creation of wildlife habitat, understory diversity.
Scientists at Rocky Mountain Research Station and at universities have been reconstructing the forest's past. Scientists take cores from trees to help them learn about the age and growth of trees, but they also show scars left behind by previous fires, which gives us a window into what our past forests looked like.
Using the living and dead trees, we were able to create really long chronologies, and we were also able to look at patterns, both over space and time, of fire scars, and relate the dates of the fire scars to the age structures of the different stands.
Using the tree ring data sets, estimated how many trees, quantified how many trees were present in 1860 versus how many are in those stands today. And essentially what we're finding is that in some cases, anywhere from 5 to 10 times more trees present in those plots today than there were historically.
The science has also shown that not every type of forest in our area burns the same way. Different forests are prone to different types of fire behavior, what scientists refer to as the fire regime.
At lower elevations, the classic tree that we have here in the Front Range is ponderosa pine. It is a tree that is well adapted to surface fire, and in fact, frequent surface fire. At higher elevations, it's a little bit different story. You get up above about 9,000 feet, and the species of trees you have up there are mostly lodgepole pine, spruce, fir, and they're more evolved to deal with what we call crown fire or stand replacing fire. It takes very dry conditions to dry out the fuels enough to burn these forests. So when you do get a fire, it's going to be intense and it's going to kill most of the trees. Particularly lodgepole has evolved a strategy to reproduce very quickly after these fires.
Years of suppressing fires have limited this important work, leaving our forests with too many trees that compete for limited resources and are overly dense and unhealthy. Forests that can fuel large, high-intensity wildfires.
So we've got 120 years now, 150 years of no fire in most of our ecosystems here in the Front Range. These ecosystems that used to burn fairly frequently. And so what happens is all of those baby trees now, that 99% of them would get killed in the past fire, 100% of them are able to establish and become overstory trees. So we've changed the canopy structure quite considerably to much more dense forests. These are also called ladder fuels, so fire may start in those surface fuels. In the past, again, the canopies were way up in the air, but now these actually allow fire to transition into the overstory, and so much more destructive stand replacing fires that we get in the forest today. And that's, of course, and across landscapes. We don't have our meadows, we don't have our openings. So now when a fire gets started, particularly when the wind behind it, which is what our recent fires have had, it goes forever.
Prescribed fire is one of the most important tools land managers use to help our forests regain their health and become more resilient to a range of disturbances, whether an insect outbreak or a wildfire.
The mechanical and manual treatment work helps us get a little bit there, but what we're really needing is to bring the fire back. One of the big projects that we're involved in is really trying to expand the use of prescribed fire to make those forests more resilient in the ways that we think will be sustained into the future.
Fire is an excellent tool to address unhealthy forests. It's one of a suite of tools that we use, but it is the best tool because it reintroduces a natural process that typically exists on the western forests and strikes a balance on the fuels landscape by reducing the fuels where they need to be reduced and leaving them where it's okay for the landscape.
Although the benefits of using prescribed fire are clear, reintroducing fire in today's complex landscape is not a simple process. To facilitate this process, the Northern Colorado Fireshed Collaborative is working collectively with federal, state, and local groups to minimize social impacts, build capacity, leverage resources, and identify opportunities for using fire to create forests better able to support ecologically beneficial fires. We invite you to join us. Visit our website to learn more.